Welcome to the IBEX Method Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Fouts, and our other host, Steve Beta. And today we have our guest, Vin Shiree, special guest with Skinny with Vinny. And so, Vince, just go ahead and tell us about what Skinny with Vinny is, and just a little bit about yourself. Where are you located? Where can people find out about your information? Things like that.
Well, number one, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. My name is Vinny Shiree, as you said. I'm located in Central Ohio, the Columbus, Ohio area. You can find anything about Skinny with Vinny, and you can type that in, Skinny with Vinny, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's all the same. And basically what Skinny with Vinny is a total body type thing, mind, body, spirit, all coming together. So to me, fitness and training and diets are a dime a dozen. You can get on Facebook and see a number of ads with different people offering different types of programs for different amounts of money. But what I find unique in what I do is that it's not only the diet aspect, but it's also the mind aspect and then the spiritual aspect as well. All three of those are important to me. And the reason that is because when one of those areas is out of balance, your mind, you're thinking bad thoughts, or you're a little bit overweight, or you're not spending time with our creator, that things just tend to get out of balance quickly and for the bad. And I really want to help people get balanced in all three areas of their life, mind, body, and spirit.
Awesome.
I'm sorry if that was too long.
No, that was perfect. Gave us a nice little outline of everything. Adam's told me a little about the program because, as you know, he's one of your clients.
Yes.
And he's made a phenomenal transformation. I can't believe it. Like, he's been struggling to get his strength back for such a long time. And
yeah,
me and Adam are real close. So I've seen him through his ups and downs, and just everything you've given him has just got him to this whole new level. He's ready. He's strong again. He's confident.
Yeah.
And just the overall results he got were just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't believe it. So what got you into doing this originally, Vince?
You know what? It's something that I should have done a long time ago. And in fact, Adam said, I can't believe you waited this long to do this, being 37 years old. But I've been around weights or training since I can honestly remember. My dad and Adam lived next to me when I was a kid for a brief time. But my dad had a gym in his garage. So I can remember him bringing me out to the garage, and I had this little bar and little 5 pounds or 2.5 pound weights and doing curls and military presses and bench presses since I can remember. So it was just that. I mean, it's kind of all I've known. My dad was always talking about nutrition and eating protein shakes or drinking protein shakes and watching Jean-Claude Van Damme movies and wanting to have abs and the whole thing. It was just part of who I am. And then when you talk about the whole spiritual side, my dad taught me well when it comes to the spirits side of things. He wasn't afraid to lead his family with praise and worship time as a kid. That was my introduction to spiritual things. And it's kind of just what I've known. I was in athletics in high school, but I finally got the itch to really start helping other people because I know that when I'm out of balance in those areas, that my life just stinks. And so many people around me, I shouldn't say so many people, but I know a lot of people who are out of balance. And I want to help them get into balance and all those areas. And I'm still learning through this program and trying to get better at all the aspects. I'm really good at the fitness part, of course, and the nutrition and the diet, but I really want to encompass more of the mindset and more of the spiritual side too. So it's a work in progress, but I think it's going to be great.
Awesome. So I want to switch this to you for a second, Adam. What are some of the highlights that you kind of took away from going through Vince's program?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Steve. I think what's unique about Vince's program is everything he highlighted. I don't know, people, I have Crohn's disease, so people are like, oh, you should eat X, Y, Z, you should do X, Y, Z, you should whatever. But a lot of it's like fads. With Vince's program, I easily and quickly learned that what he provided wasn't just like hey, it's actually a 12-week program. We took a little longer because we decided that, hey, like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do a physique competition, and that's how we capped it off. But what I quickly learned through first navigating the diet process is that it was something that could sustain me beyond those 12 weeks. So it wasn't just, hey, go ahead and take these pills, go ahead and take whatever XYZ do some crazy stuff real quick, see these quick results, and never get that again because it's not sustainable. So that's the first thing, and that's something that I need. I need something that's sustainable for my health. So dietarily, it challenged me. The things that when I had real bad inflammation, I couldn't eat. Like I couldn't eat raw meat, not raw meat, but I couldn't have beets. I couldn't have leafy greens, stuff of that nature. But a lot of his diet is based on those things. So you're getting your protein that you need. And again, with Crohn's disease, there's a lot of malabsorption when you have inflammation. So having the greens actually helps to clean the gut, so get your absorption balanced, and then being able to. I'm on a medication that actually immunosuppresses the proteins within your genetic makeup, your DNA, so that inflammation doesn't occur. So being able to restore those types of proteins that I need to sustain myself. So instantly, within 3 weeks or 3 days, I noticed that like my body was already changing, like it was kind of flushing out. Within 10 days, I noticed that I was getting stronger, that strength that I didn't have before, and it all kind of just pointed to the diet. And then the other thing I loved about his program was that I've learned just the importance of rest through my process, just in training, things of that nature. He's very intentional. Like when he talks about the spiritual aspect, you do your workouts, I think 6 days a week, and then you get one rest day. That's a time for family. It's a time to kind of regroup spiritually. You kind of feel like you're falling out, but it is part of that that overall balance. And I really love the fact that he incorporates rest into his program. He did other things where he would, on a rest day, there might be a video. He would give you some spiritual guidance, maybe some financial guidance, or things about, connecting with your friends and your family. So yeah, it was a very different type of program than what I expected. Most things you think of, again, this is like a lot of hype, but I don't know, it was an incredible experience. And again, I'm still on my journey, and I'm still implementing everything he's taught me. So I don't know if that answers your question, Steve, but it was just very different from what I expected a normal program to be.
Yeah, that's great. Like I said, seeing from where you started to where you ended, I know you were struggling with the diet part at first because of your Crohn's and just trying to find what types of foods work for you. I know sometimes you kind of stumbled trying to find which protein sources didn't bother your gut or your stomach. Did Vince help you along with that, or is that kind of something you guys both had to work on as you went through this?
No, it was like, hey man, like you have this program, I have Crohn's disease. Let's see what we can do to make it work.
Yeah.
And I mean, every time I went to go put something in my mouth, I'm like, oh man, I don't know how I'm feeling, So I communicated that with him. He'd encourage me. When we did find that symptoms would arise because of something that we ate, he'd give me different recommendations to get the same results, just a different food source. So we finally, I got to a point where it was like, it went from, okay, what can I have and what can't I have, to, okay, now that I can have these things, let's kind of have fun with my diet and things of that nature. So yeah, he helped every step of the way for sure.
That's awesome. So Vince, when you have a new client come on, what are the first steps you typically take with them?
Good question. Basically, it's what we do now is an onboarding process, and Adam kind of gave me feedback when he was coming through, because it is a lot of work at first, and I don't mean that to sound like, oh crap, it's going to be a lot of work, because it is. It's going to be a lot of work. You're going to have to go to the store, prep your food, buy the right foods, but once you get into that, it becomes second nature. I think Adam said in a post that at his first grocery store trip was an hour or 2 hours, and then he narrowed it down to half an hour because you find out where stuff is. But that's part of that onboarding process, is getting the right kind of food, starting to get your mindset right, because it's a lot about your mindset. I ask a lot of questions about why you're doing it, because if you don't have a strong why to do this program, like Adam had the goal of doing the show or getting healthy or getting stronger or losing 50 pounds, whatever the why is, if you don't have a strong why, then you probably more than likely won't succeed, because when it gets tough 3 weeks into the program and you don't feel like prepping the food, or you just want to have pizza with your coworkers or go out for beers or whatever you're doing, if you don't have that why in the back of your mind, if you don't have a picture up on your fridge, or a scripture on your rearview mirror, or whatever the case is, whatever works for you, you're probably going to give in to those temptations. So as we begin, we're going to do a lot of mindset kind of recalibration to get you focused on the goal and get you to that that finish line, and then learning about food and getting you through the right supplement recommendations based on your goals. Is it fat loss? Is it to gain muscle? Is it to compete? Whatever the case is. And there's supplement recommendations as well that'll come with that. So getting all your food bought and prepped, getting the right supplements shipped, or bought and shipped and ready to go for the first week. And a lot of people are really surprised, and Adam may touch on this, that of how much food they can actually eat. One of the comments I always tend to get is, man, this seems like way too much food. Like, how's this going to work? I feel like I'm going to gain weight because it's so much food. And it is a lot of food, but your body needs food and nutrition to put in the work that I'm going to have you do. Because if you're accustomed to eating 1,000 calories a day, which some people are, unfortunately, you will struggle with it because your body has to recalibrate. But your body is in a caloric deficit all the time, where it's just holding on to everything you're eating. So you can't go from 1,000 calories to 600. I mean, you can, but your body's still going to keep retaining or trying to hold on to everything it has because you're not eating enough. And that's why, you need to eat more calories. And then we eventually start to come down a little bit as we get closer to the goal or closer to the show or whatever the case is, where your body can start to lose and you go into that calorie deficit, but it's in a healthy way. It's not 2,000 calories to 800 calories. It's 2,000 calories and 1,800 calories and 60. You know what I mean? It's just a slow process, but it's a healthy process where you're not losing, 25 pounds in a month, unless you're built that way where you can lose that kind of weight. But Adam and I couldn't lose that much weight in a month because we'd be skin and bone. So it's a healthy process to lose the fat, and it's learning about all that information and me helping you along the way to figure that out.
Oh, I think that's amazing because I see so many of these fads and diets where people are like, "Hey, get on this and you're going to lose 20 pounds right now." But it's too general because
Right.
a 300 pounds,
Right.
6'8", what are all those different
Right.
factors? And being able to lose it slowly and sustainability of it,
Yep.
it's going to keep you going longer term. You're not
For
just going to
sure.
shock the weight off of you. And I think that's a great way to go about it.
Right. Absolutely. Agreed.
So I know Adam did a physique show. You do physique as well, or you do?
Yes.
Awesome. What originally got you into that? Is that what kind of got you motivated to do anything?
Yeah. Back in the day, I did a show about 10 years ago, and I did 7 shows in a year. Because in my head, I'm thinking, well, if I buy this card, and this card cost $100 for the year, then you could do unlimited shows for the year with that card. It's an NPC card, is what I did. So I'm like, well, shoot, I might as well just do multiple shows since I bought this card and get the bang for my buck. And I just did a bunch of shows. What got me into it? A friend of my brother's competed in Cleveland, and I knew him and saw him compete. Saw his video. He had a VHS cassette tape, and he put it in the VCR.
Nice.
And I watched it. It was the Natural Northern in Cleveland. And I'm like, I could do that. And then just something in me is like, I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, and get in great shape and get on stage. And I did a show in Northern Kentucky. Beverly International actually sponsored it at the time. And I entered in the novice, and I told myself, I said, hey, if you place in this, if you get first place, you got to keep going. And lo and behold, I get first place. So then I get the bang for my buck and do all the shows. That's 10 years ago. I'll go off on a rabbit trail here for a moment. One thing about competing in bodybuilding and physique, and Adam probably ran into this, and one thing that I'm working on and I'm proving to myself and others is that you don't have to completely be self-absorbed and self-focused. I was 10 years ago. All I cared about was the gym, my supplements, not eating bad, and I was completely focused on me. There was no spiritual side to it. There was really no mindset side to it. I mean, I was disciplined, but it was just all inward focused. And fast forward 10 years, my goal was to kind of defeat that and still maintain a family balance, a spiritual balance, a mindset balance. And I was doing well, but towards the end, I started to see that I was a little behind in my prep for what I wanted to be. And I started to cram, and then I got out of balance, and I kind of failed towards the end as far as the spiritual mental side of it. And I'm just being open and honest with you guys. And I don't know if I told you that, Adam, I think I did. But it was a a tough point in the marriage because I'm still wanting to take my wife out on dates because we do weekly dates. And I was just so focused on the show and getting ready for the show. And then Sunday after the show was Mother's Day. And Adam knows this, the day after the show, you were just completely floored. You're just done. And on Mother's Day, I slept all day.
Oh,
So
man.
that was like really bad for me. And I'm just airing my dirty laundry here to know what some competitors can go through. But it's about the balance. And that's why mind, body, spirit is so important to me, because you can quickly get out of balance. Even if your goal is just to be healthy, you can start to get to the point where that's all you're thinking about is your body and being healthy. And that's what you think about, but it's not the only thing. That doesn't make you who you are. There's still a spiritual side to you that you need to focus on. And you got to think about everyone else in your life. So whatever that's worth.
Man, just hearing you say you did 7 shows in a year, I listen to these other podcasts and hear some of these bodybuilders saying it just wrecks your body being in like competition shape all year. Like how is that sustainable for you? Or is that what another factor that kind of beat up on you a little bit?
No, to me, people think you need to bulk up, to add muscle. And I disagree with that philosophy. I don't think that you should bulk up and, go from 155 pounds to 200 pounds and then lose the weight. I think that's hard on your body. I think gaining 40 pounds and then losing 40 pounds is harder on your body than just maintaining a lean set of body mass. So I just was able to do it. Towards the end, towards my 7th show, I was ready to be done, just because it was just, Adam's gone through a prep week, a final week, and there's a lot of water manipulation and some other things that I won't get into on this podcast, but that part of it can start to get a little, not overwhelming, but it's just, I got to tan again. I got to buy more product. I got to get a hotel room reserved. I got to get you know what I mean? So there's things that start to add up financially that it was just like, I don't want to do this more because of the hotel cost and this other cost. I was just ready to take a little break, more so because of the cost, not so much because of getting on stage. I really enjoyed the stage. I have fun on stage. Most guys get up there and they're like stoic and serious and don't want to move around. I'm like, you guys, you just worked for 12, 16 weeks and gave your whole all, and you get like 5 minutes on stage. Let's have a good time. And let's, I don't know. I just think you should smile and just take it all in and get the most out of it. I'm sure Adam did that when he was on stage, but stage is fun. So I'm sorry I get sidetracked.
Oh, no, that's awesome. That's all stuff we're looking for, man. Like it's just exciting to hear the process and all the different errors that come along with it, because so much out there on YouTube and so many podcasts, it's all the good. You don't hear about the bad. You don't hear about the struggles. And I think that's very important for people to hear.
Yes.
How you're able to get through that.
Mm-hmm. And having good friends around you. I'm a big believer on, birds of a feather flock together. So, who you're surrounding yourself with will play a big part on keeping you accountable, not only with your diet, but with your marriage and with your family and with your kids and with your competition and eating the right foods. That's why I'm very picky on who I surround myself with. And to be honest with you, this might sound like a negative, but even who I'll coach in the program. There's people who reach out to me and I'll take them through some questions, and I quickly see that they're just not a fit for the program. And why they're not a fit? Because, they'll say things like, I'll talk about working out and they have no desire to go to the gym or work out or do anything. They just want to lose weight. Well, it's going to take hard work. If you don't want to work hard, then we're not going to be a good match, because I expect out of my clients hard work. But it takes hard work for anything. To have a great marriage, to be a good dad, to get promoted at work, whatever the case is, it's going to take hard work to do that. So it's just important to maintain that level of consistency and know that to master your marriage or to master fitness, it's going to be really being consistent and willing to put in the effort.
I like what you were saying about the support system too. I know me and Adam kind of bounce things off each other almost every day or every other day. He'll just send me a general like, hey, did chest and arms today, or how far he ran, or I'll send him what I did. And it's just really fun to get into that and fully encompass everything. And
Absolutely.
Tell you what, it was really fun. He came and visit the one time at the gym that I train at. I brought him in and we did one of your workouts, and it was fun, man. It was a good time. It was Super Pump City, because
Yeah.
I'm used to sticking into the 1 to 5 rep range because I do a lot of Olympic lifting and stuff. So I was like, all right, let's do this. And my arms wanted to explode. It was the best feeling ever. I loved it.
You sound like my son Camden. We'll do. There's certain workouts that I know that will get that exploding pump on that you're talking about. So he's like, Dad, let's do this super workout together today. I'm like, well, which one? You know what I mean? So it's variety within the program. Within the 12 weeks, there is variety too. So there are weeks or days when you're going to do 1 to 5 reps, and then there are weeks and days when you're going to do 100, and you're like,
Yeah,
100.
it's been a while since I've done stuff like that because when I first started touching weights, I didn't touch weights till I was in college. Well, actually, after I graduated college the first time, I finally started learning things, learning how to get that pump. It just feels so good. And then I
Yeah.
started going on to other things, but saying I haven't got that type of pump in a long time. It was a good workout, man. It was really fun.
Good. It's good to hear. Adam's sharing my stuff with people for free. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Get my money's worth.
Yeah, heck yeah.
This much free.
No, he felt the pain. He paid for it for sure.
That's good.
Oh, for
That's
sure. Definitely.
So you mentioned, I mean, there's a lot of things that are just flowing through my mind with everything you're saying, Vince. I think it's a lot of good information. You mentioned the word consistency. I know that's meant to be the main topic of today. So as I look at just what Skinny with Vinny is, and just kind of recap real quick. So when I heard the term Skinny with Vinny, I thought like, oh, it's a weight loss program. But what I learned is that being skinny means you're kind of leaning out, but you're also gaining muscle mass, which I thought was pretty cool. So my weight didn't fluctuate, but my proportion between my waist and my shoulders changed drastically. So it gave me a new perspective on what skinny meant. Really just like a lean, so to play on words. But going to the concept of consistency, you're obviously all about the balance of everything, right? So your mind, body, soul, your family, probably your finances, your workouts. So what does consistency look like for you? How do you define it? How would you encourage others to be consistent in what they do?
Yeah, a lot of it I think would depend on your personality. If you're the type of person who just loves to have fun, you're the life of the party, you're just a talker, you have a lot of friends, and I would encourage you to have consistency. Make sure that you're having fun within your consistency, because I'm the type of personality who has a calendar and I have time blocked out, and I just stick to that calendar because I'm diligent in what I do. But to the person who's wants to have fun in the life of the party, they don't even have calendars, and that's okay. That's totally fine. But you need to have consistency by probably having fun or being in group settings, so that will keep you consistent. There's those who are being consistent because they're doing something greater than them. A lot of people who join the program want to be there for their kids because they're overweight and they're worried about their health or their spouse or whatever the case might be. So their consistency is coming from the fact that it's bigger than themselves, and that keeps them consistent. There's another group who simply just is always going to be the best at what they do. So for them, the fact that they have a goal to lose the most weight or get on stage or get healthy or have abs, they're consistent because they know they're going to be the best at what they do. And that's just how they've lived their life, is they're up for the challenge. They love being the best. So they're going to be consistent based on that. And then there's my group who's kind of like just diligent. They get up at the same time most of the day. They have everything blocked out. Whenever I start to get lax, like I'm in between shows right now, and there's times where I'll come home at 4 a.m. because I work night shift currently, and I just don't feel like eating a protein shake. I want to have a big bowl of potato chips. You gotta have someone in your life who can call you out on that and say, hey, did you eat chips last night, or did you have protein powder? Do you want to get first place in your next show, or do you want to get last? What are you doing here? Are you serious or are you not? Knowing that I'm going to text you tomorrow and ask you, did you have a big bowl of ice cream or did you have a salad for dinner? And you're investing yourself too financially. So people ask me why I charge sometimes, and I said I did do this for some time for free. And when I did it for free, people didn't really take it seriously, unfortunately, because I helped or wanted to help quite a few people do it, but I didn't charge a couple of years ago, and no one ever really finished or completed the program. So once I started asking for a financial investment, in themselves. It's not so much for me so I can get rich. That's not my goal at all in this. My goal is to help you, but planting that financial seed, I think, is biblical too. To plant the seed, to sow the seed, and then reap the benefits 30, 60, 100 times more because you planted that financial seed in yourself. So for whatever that's worth, another long-winded answer.
Steve, you got anything regarding that? Or I had a
No,
few things, but
I think
go
I think
ahead.
that's spot on, especially the end, like the financial side of it, because I feel like so many people like, oh, why is this so expensive, or why is this price or that price?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, all right, you could definitely go to Planet Fitness, pay $10 a month, and get
Yep.
great results if you actually put the time and effort into it.
Yep.
But if you just pay $10, you're like, all right, if I don't go today, it's not a big deal. If I don't go today,
Right.
it's not a big deal. Your return on investment is good whether you go once or twice to the gym or if you go 30 times.
Yep.
So I think that's a great way to do it, because I've had trainers in the past, and I've had coaches and stuff, and it just keeps you more accountable.
Yep. 100%. And I have a coach in my life for different things too. I don't have a fitness coach anymore. I did about 10 years ago. I had a fitness coach in my life who helped me and guided me. And now I have a coach in another area of my life of, I'm trying to get my finances and everything under control. So I have a coach to keep me accountable there. So it's just investing. I'm not opposed to that. And I think if your goal is to get fit and get in shape, then you need to make the investment in yourself and your health and pay what it takes. Because I know this, whenever I want something personally, it doesn't matter what it costs me. I'm going to pay whatever it is because it means something to me. Like when I met my wife and we're going to get engaged and I was going to buy a ring, I didn't care what the ring cost because I loved her and we're going to get engaged. So the money didn't matter at that point. So when people come to me with a financial kind of objection, I'm like, then you're really not serious.
People ask me like, how much was the program? And I'm like, well, yeah, I paid for it X, Y, Z. But like, well, why would you do that when you could go online and get the same information? And why not pay somebody that already, like, that's what I loved about you, Vince, is that I mean, you have two pictures. One is when you weren't in shape and one from on stage. And I'm like, okay, this guy obviously knows what he's doing. So why not pay to get to around his level faster and gain that knowledge and information so that, I could just be where I want to be. And the idea has been brewing in my mind for about 2 years of like, hey, I want to improve my diet. I want to get the strength thing going. And we ran to a conference and we talked about things. And I probably took a couple months after that for things to transpire. But yeah, the moment I put my money to where my mouth was, is like, hey, I'm committed, and then going back to just the contrast between where you were 10 years ago and where you are today. You mentioned consistency and balance. So it sounds like you're being consistent, not with just your workouts, but with your spiritual time, your time with your family. Now that you have that balance and you have that consistency, how has that impacted not just you, but your family and those you come in contact with?
I was so out of balance, so self-focused that I didn't even want to help you learn anything, even no kind of trick. Or I'd see people working out wrong and wouldn't say anything because, and again, I'm telling on myself because the balance was lacking. But when you have that consistency with your spiritual time, consistency just makes you feel better. Your wife knows she's going on a date with you this week. Your kids know that they can count on you. And you're just that rock for your family of consistency. And then having that balance is key. If you don't have the balance from personal experience, life you might look good on stage, you might do well, but inside mentally you might be depressed or what's this all for anyway, because the family's not there. If my wife and my kids weren't in the audience when I'm winning a medal, it doesn't matter. I don't really even care to go and be on stage. It was the fact that they were there, and I did it with my son, my 17-year-old at the time. 17, you guys are an inspiration. Just seeing you here together, it's like some special bond, because when you do compete, it is a special bond with you and those people there. I mean, you're competing in a sense, but how many people compete in a show and have the discipline and the willpower to get ready and do a show? Not many people do that. So it is a special bond that you get with people, and then to do it with your kid on top of that it's huge. I mean, imagine doing it with Jeremiah, Adam, like what that would be like to compete with your son in something that's so difficult, and to see him up there doing well. It was a great day. But that comes from that consistency and the balance.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that, for me, everything I do stems from the fact that my Crohn's disease, that's like the guiding factor. I feel like he was a Joshua in the Bible where God like broke his hip or whatever. I'm like, I'm like, hey, that's kind of me right now. I walk around with this little limp, and he's like, hey, I got you, so I'm on this journey. But yeah, going through your program, and every day, like my family knew, like, hey, this is what I have to do today. I got to get into meal prep. I got to get this workout in. Now what I'm trying to do is be more consistent and being in the gym for only 30 minutes as opposed to an hour to two based on what type of workout that we're working on. But yeah, I was like being able to have set time aside for that, and then once I got home and know that hey, it's just family time, like let's make the most of it. And the biggest thing I looked forward to was Jeremiah, Addison, and Sarah being able to be at the show, be there with me, experience like, hey, like Daddy's improved his health for you. And just being consistent day in and day out, and it wasn't always just, it wasn't just grinding till you bleed. It's like, hey, just put in the workout, eat the food. You don't feel good, that's okay. Just do the meal, just keep moving. And it's just some days it's just putting in the work without the maximum effort. And because of that, and because of your guidance and everything, yeah, I felt like I was able to find balance for my family. I was able to be consistent in the program. It only took 90 days to see results. And really sooner than that, I think closer to 10, I started noticing changes. But yeah, I think the greatest thing was, and again, because of your program, right, you implement, family time, you implement the spiritual aspect. So I'm like, hey, babe, today's a rest day. Like, let's go out. Let's go do something, And like they love that. And I'm thankful for that. And it allowed them to be a part of that journey. And so, yeah, when they got to see me on stage, I told my son, I'm like, hey, look, like, you're going to see some superheroes. Like, I showed him pictures. Like, well, they look like the Hulks, like they're working on being the Hulks. And I showed him, I like introduced him to the tan lady, and I'm like, oh, she's the one with the special potion that gives you the Hulk look, like. So it is cool to be able to
give him your trophy.
Yeah, exactly. And like everything you said, just the balance of family, like your programs incorporate that. And I thought that was one of the most amazing features. So thank you for all that. My health, thank you for my strength, and
absolutely,
and the balance with family. So
absolutely, I'm excited for you to re-up and do a show with me in 2020. I challenge you to come do a show with me, and we'll do it together. That'll be fun and interesting.
And maybe we get Steve in there.
In height, so we won't be in the same class. So we have that going for us. So we won't be in direct competition, but it would still be fun to do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You're trying to pull me in on there? No, thanks. I'm good. I'll stick to my strength training. Specific. I think it'd be fun though. I've had interest in doing it before, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Do it.
Awesome. Right,
so
what's next? What's next for you, Vince? What are your goals coming here forward soon besides the show? Anything?
Most recent goals are coming up would be to get we're trying to get all of our consumer debt paid off. So we want to really get into a place where we have financial freedom, the family, where we paid off all the consumer debt. We have a rental property that we're trying to, I want to have more rental properties to, again, have the financial freedom. So really focusing on the finances, the spiritual side of things as well. Really taking time to read my Bible, to pray, to spend more time with him, and be really intentional with hearing him talk to me, not just reading my Bible to check it off for the day. Sometimes I'll read and I'll notice myself just like, all right, I got to get through this part of the Old Testament and read the New Testament, but that's totally defeating the purpose. I mean, if I only read a paragraph, but that paragraph speaks to me, it was worth it. So more time spiritually and intentionality there. And then of course, having more people join Skinny with Vinny and helping more people change their lives. I mean, Adam's now of a list of a few dozen people who have done the program and have seen great results. He wasn't the biggest loser simply because he didn't have that much weight to lose, but he was my first person who's actually done the program and competed, which is pretty cool. That'll have a special place in my memory, and for us, that he went through the program, competed on stage, and then and succeeded and won a trophy, which is a big deal. So just growing Skinny with Vinny, getting better at honing in people spiritually, mentally, and then of course on the fitness side and the nutrition in their body as well, because people just feel really confident when they're healthy and in good shape. You just do. I mean, plus when you're healthy and in good shape, it just leads to other things being better. I mean, you could play with your kids on the trampoline for 2 hours like I did today and not feel like you're going to die. You can go for a walk with your wife. You can, you're more appealing to your spouse sometimes. I mean, some people say that sounds probably superficial, but I don't know. I want to look good for my wife. I want her to look at me, and women probably aren't as visual as men, but I still want to look good for her. So there's that aspect of it too. And then you just have more fun when you're in better shape in other areas. And I'll just leave it at that. So you can use it. Sorry. So
like jumping on a trampoline. Yeah.
Yeah. Like jumping on a trampoline. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
But it's true though. You guys know I'm telling you the truth. So, but growing it and seeing what God does with it, I'll just leave it up to him. I mean, it's been a great year so far, a good first 10 months, and it's been a success as far as I'm concerned. And if it stays the same or continues to grow up and to the right, that's great. I mean, it's really up to him. It's in his hands. I'm going to continue to be diligent and do what I can and see what God does.
Awesome. I just want to say thank you for coming on today.
Oh, absolutely.
It was awesome to meet you. I've just kind of met you on the fly here and there, just over text and messages, because I knew you were working with Adam and we knew we wanted to get you here on the podcast. I think it was perfect timing too, because Adam just finished up his competition, kind of got some feedback from him and you, got to see what the whole program got to entail and just see the full results. And when we post this, we'll put a before and after picture of Adam, if that's okay with him. Just to kind of
that's fine. Yeah, we'll showcase Vince's work.
Yeah, because it was extremely impressive. I was blown away when I saw the final result, because it just all came together. And
when I saw it at the end too, I think Adam sent me a picture at week, let's say like 8 or 9. I can't remember exactly. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a good before and after. Because, when you're going through the process, and if you go through the process with me, you'll get to a point like you're a month in and you're like, well, crap, I thought I'd have abs by now. But it's only been a month. I mean, there'll come a point, I kept telling Adam, it's going to start to snowball and the results will come fast. Like almost every day you'll start to see like a change in something different. And that's what he could attest to, that and experience. Here comes my daughter.
Nice. Hello.
This is Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
Are you strong like Daddy?
Oh yeah.
Let's see you flex. Let's see those muscles.
Go ahead. Show.
Oh, shy girl.
She's She's into gymnastics, and
oh wow,
man,
awesome.
she can tumble and do some things. She's
I can do a cartwheel.
You can do a cartwheel. That's amazing. You are so cool.
I honestly cannot do a cartwheel. So.
Yep, she just learned recently. She's really good at it. So yeah, this is Shari life right here. It's the 5 kids, and it's a big part of what we do. So luckily, Mommy gave me an hour in here to hang out, and Libby just snuck in here. So but
Nice.
she's not afraid of the camera either. She enjoys it. She's used to it. So right, sweetie.
I talked to someone on here before.
Yep. So Joel was at a babysitter recently. We were out of town at a conference last weekend. And Joel was at the neighbor's house, and she was trying to give him cake. And he was like, that's not healthy, and it'll kill you. And he
wow.
He had to make him popcorn or something, a healthy snack, because he said he needed a healthy snack. So
wow.
It just goes to show you, like, you have to be careful even with the kids and what you're saying, really, because they're listening all the time and watching what you're doing. So it's already being kind of downloaded to them that certain foods are bad. I don't want him to think he's going to die, but it's all good. So right.
Yeah. So in addition to Skinny with Vinny, you also have a Shy Real Life YouTube page. Is that correct? Or
yes, yeah, on YouTube it's called Shy Real Life. It's also on Facebook, and that was the goal of that. I started that 3 years ago, was simply to document kind of our life and their growing up, so they have memories. When they're 20 years from now, they're going to love, well, they probably won't love it when they're 18, but when they're 30, they'll probably enjoy looking back and seeing themselves as kids. So just to document kind of like a video journal, if you will, of our life and documenting some key things. And I've gotten a little lax with that because I've been focusing a lot in on my clients and Skinny with Vinny. But you expect to see more of that coming up in 2020, more of the family side of it as well. Plus, I had a Canon G7X, which is really easy to use and edit with. The sidebar, And me and my brother Noah were downtown Columbus, my brother Nick, and we rented scooters, and we got caught in the rain. We were downtown and it started just unloaded and pouring on us. So I gave my brother my camera. I don't know why I did that. And he put it in his pocket, and he had on like flimsy shorts, and it got wet. So that camera, the bunch of water got into the mic and it ruined my camera. And I just never bought another camera because I just didn't have that as a priority. But anyway, it's easy to shoot with that camera and upload episodes and stuff because it's so easy to edit with. Well, not edit with, but shoot with. So no, but thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you guys. It's been fun. Adam's an ideal client. And I don't say that because he's here and he's on the podcast, but Adam's the ideal client because he's hardworking. He worked very hard. He would listen, he would learn, and he wanted to take action right now. He wanted results now, and he was going to do whatever it took to gain those results. So, and that's when people are hardworking, they're willing to learn and communicate with me. Like if something comes up and you have an anniversary or a birthday party and you want to eat something, let's work together. Let's talk about it. Don't just go off and go off the deep end and not converse with your coach about it. Cause that's where people go kind of off the rails is when they tell me, on Monday that they screwed up over the weekend and we could have did it a little bit better if we had to talk through it. But I think they're trying to keep it from their coach, but that'd be my recommendation is just work with me and we can figure it out together. Cause that's what my coaches did for me in fitness is, hey, I got this big event coming up. Can I go to Cheesecake Factory? We'd look at the menu and decide on something and make it work for the day. So, and that's Adam's that type of individual where we would figure out what we could do to make it work. And obviously the results speak for themselves.
Thank you for that. And just a quick story. I mean, I think within week 2, I was like, hey, I already got plans to go to this like diner place. I'm going to eat all this stuff. Like basically I'm hitting macros as opposed to just, but we worked it out. I said, hey, make sure you do X, Y, Z. Make sure it's at the end of the day because it's a carb day.
Right.
Yeah, anytime I had an issue, he was willing to work with me on it. And I'm so used to the Marine Corps mentality where it's like, hey, if I have an issue, somebody's going to judge you. Vince's like response was very welcoming. Like, oh, it's fine. Like, let's work through it. Let's move forward. So I love that too, where it wasn't condemning. It was just, hey, like, okay, you screwed up. Let's move forward. Like, it happens. But Steve, do you have anything else before we close out?
No, I think everything was pretty much covered. That's great.
Yeah, Vince, thank you for your time. So let's kind of recap. How can people hear about Skinny with Vinny? What platforms can they find your information on? Is there an email? Is there anything that they can contact you? That's the point of contact.
Yeah, Skinny with Vinny on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just type in Skinny with Vinny and I'm going to pop up. You can also type in skinnywithvinny@gmail.com and you can send me an email there as well and you can find me there. And I'd be happy to even answer any questions, and just feel free to like the Skinny with Vinny Facebook page. You're going to get recipes, some free stuff on there, mindset tricks, supplement recommendations. I mean, a lot of stuff is available to you on that page as well, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
That's awesome. Today, again, you have myself, Adam Faust, and Steve Bader with the IBEX Method podcast, and we have our guest, Vince Shiree with Skinny with Vinny. Thank you for joining us today. And again, if you have if you want to learn more about Skinny with Vinny, just go ahead and look up his information on Instagram, Facebook, and thank you for your time, Vince.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a great one.